Good morning, people. 2010 Dodge Challenger 3.5. Doing tune-up here, spark plug service, as well as some front shocks. Just a little bit to let you guys know. It's not too hard to do if you got the proper tools. Simple step, you start by disconnecting all these wire harnesses that go on the throttle body. If I recall, there's probably about maybe 4 that you have to disconnect. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 3 vacuum hoses in the rear of the intake that you have to remove before disassembling. You have this EGR here. Be careful with these gaskets, don't want to damage these. No bolts on this, just goes right behind the intake. So as you can see, we got the spark plugs here. You still have to remove the intake even for this one, but especially for these out here. Pretty easy process. Start off by disconnecting those connectors I showed you earlier. Now it has this little small frame here that goes on the top. I don't know if you can see that here. It goes across. Now you don't have to take it off, but you're gonna have a hard time trying to remove the intake once you're ready to remove it out. So it's nothing too hard. A couple of 13mm bolts. You got to remove some small plastic clips here that go on the wires. See that? There's probably about 3 of those. One on this side. Then you have this connector you have to take off as well. Just be careful, you don't want to rip any wires. 4 13mm. 2 on this side, 2 on that side. It'll give you access right here for the intake. That way you don't have to have a hard time. Once you do that, you have the 10mm bolts. Take off here. I don't think they can come off, but they just stand up. And then also, forgot to mention, right here you have 2 10mm bolts. They go mounted on the throttle body. 2 15mm bolts at the bottom. You can remove them all the way, but if not, you can just loosen them. You got a little bit of play, enough to remove the intake. And also this side, forgot to mention as well, 2 15mm bolts at the bottom of these. This one you might have to use a wrench. I got this one with the ratchet. You might use a wrench though. So you loosen 2 15mm bolts at the bottom. You completely remove the 10mm on top. Just move them back, and you should be good to go. Not that hard to do. Once you do all that, make sure that you cover the intake ports right here. You don't want nothing falling in there, causing some major damage. And once you do that, remove these clips carefully. Never pull it from the wire. And then 10mm bolts on each one. Get your OEM recommended spark plugs and install in reverse order. Thank you.